Hello and welcome to this week's Astro Talk. My name is Audi Solares, and if you were with me last week, then you know that we are in this eclipse window of time where between eclipses there is this sort of cosmic hum beneath our day-to-day that is shifting things, indicating and resulting in major endings or major beginnings in our life. Also out in the world, in a subconscious level, on a collective level. And that's where we find ourselves in time. Although we do not have an eclipse happening this week, there are a number of planetary alignments taking place that are informing the story at large, the story that is happening for you, and what these eclipses specifically want you to integrate and to learn from. We're going to be talking about March the 16th through to the 22nd. We start off the week on the 17th with a Sun North Node conjunction in Pisces. Considering that the eclipses are going to continue happening in this Virgo-Pisces axis, this is a really good time to see what it is that the sun is illuminating for us in this aspect of our life. What is it that happens around this time? What are your dreams showing you? What guidance is showing up? And overall, what is it that's sort of getting kicked up? And pay attention to that, because it's very likely that it's giving you a bit of a sneak peek or a preview into these cycles that will continue into the next couple of years. With this happening in Pisces, the themes tend to be around our dreams, our imagination, our creativity. And with the North Node here, there's a hunger for us to be in connection with this path, to be in connection with what our destiny path is and what it looks like. This could bring about epiphanies or an illumination of where it is that you're going. On the 19th, the sun is going to then conjoin Neptune in Pisces as well. So fresh off of the heels of that North Node conjunction, the sun is now with Neptune. And Neptune is about to ingress into Aries. The sun is about to ingress into Aries. And so it seems like this is one final touch point of this energy. We're not going to have a Sun, Neptune in Pisces conjunction for a very long time. And what is it that we can take from this energy before it kind of shifts into something more fiery and bold? Neptune, of course, is the great deceiver in some ways. So this is a time to maybe sit with the ways in which you have even been deceiving yourself. This might be illuminated at this time. How have you been a bit delusional about the ways in which you've been approaching certain things in your life? How have you been a bit in la la land and not enough action? This is a moment to sit with also the things you've been wanting to manifest. You know, in the realm of the law of attraction and manifestation and, vision boarding and all of this stuff, oftentimes there is such a focus on how we want the thing to look, the relationship, the job, the lifestyle, whatever it might be. We become so rigid on how it's supposed to look that we're not really sitting with how we want it to make our energy feel or how we want to feel in that energy. And if you've successfully manifested something, which I think at some point in your life you must have, because we are naturally, creator beings, sometimes you get the thing that you think you wanted so badly and you're like, this isn't doing it for me. This is actually giving nothing. And if you practice a bit of a shift when calling things in, instead of like, this is how it needs to look, to this is how I want to feel, and follow that instead, you are working a little bit more in the unseen realms. It's slightly more etheric, but the difference is night and day. This can be a good moment in time to evaluate how your process in that looks like and what adjustments you can make. A lot of things being illuminated so that you can then move forward with a lot more confidence and courage and clarity, which leads us to our next transit. The sun ingresses into Aries on the 20th of March. Happy spring equinox. If you're like me and you celebrate the new year at this time, then this is the beginning of a new cycle. What seeds do you want to plant? What do you want to begin at this time? And moving forward, how can this energy be of good momentum for you to take on any new challenges or any new projects with courageous and fiery and passionate energy. That's very much Aries sun sort of energy. The sun is exalted in Aries, loves to be in Aries, and so these qualities of leadership and shining brightly and being bold and brave are just going to continue to be here. We've had Mercury and Venus here for a second now, and so with these retrogrades happening in Aries and the sun jumping in, it might actually be providing a bit of illumination into those storylines. But the sun in its trajectory through Aries, it's going to continue to inject that energy in our lives. Like, how do we maintain our sense of self and our sovereignty and our independence and our power in a moment when things are getting shaken up? And how do we do the thing and maybe ask for forgiveness later? That's very much Aries energy. It's about being bold, but with strategy, right? Moving forward with a bit of planning there. So this is a renewal. It's a fresh start. It's a time to reset as well and to sit with this new energy that's coming through. And the fact that it's happening in this eclipse window indicates that this theme of major beginnings, major endings is absolutely at play. I would really lean into that. And if it's been feeling really just excruciating or just brutal, or maybe it's been lovely and surprising and strangely chaotic but rewarding, lean into that, fully embrace it, and allow this to mold you into a stronger, more confident version of yourself and to lead with that. On the 21st, very retrograde Venus in Aries is going to sextile Pluto in Aquario, giving us an opportunity to go deep into this retrograde story. Venus is on the verge of coming back into Pisces, and so before she enters into a very much more comfortable place for her, even though she'll be retrograde, what is it that we can go deep into, even if it's painful or sharp or uncomfortable? This is that catalyst. Pluto in Aquario, of course, is excavative, it's intense, it's transformational, and it wants to explore the dark aspects of a situation. And with Venus being in Aries, there is sort of this element of being courageous and being like, okay, sure, you want to go into this deep dark cave and see what there is to retrieve at the bottom of it, I'm game. And the sextile here really supports that sort of perspective on it. Doesn't mean it's going to be, perhaps a walk in the park, or that all of it is going to feel pleasurable and passionate. It might actually be a bit uncomfortable. But what's a Venus retrograde without its discomforts? I think that we're meant to have a moment here in the week where we really sit with what is unfolding, to sort of gather that information and move forward from that place of, okay, like, I'm taking notes, I'm gathering receipts, I'm not making any super life-changing decisions or, commitments at this time necessarily, but I'm gathering bits and pieces here and there of what will help me make an informed decision, maybe once that Venus goes direct in Pisces. If you are making commitments or major decisions at this time, that isn't to say that that's a bad thing. If you are making connections or relationships at this time, that's not to say that they're doomed and fated. They are all a part of the story. And I don't think I emphasized this at all in my last talk, but Venus in retrograde in any sign doesn't inherently mean that people that you connect with at this time are going to be bad or are going to hurt you or anything like that. It really is going to depend on how it is for you and y'all's charts and how it's unfolding. Venus in Aries retrograde can very much bring you a mentor, a new person that you look up to, someone who embodies this sort of like leadership energy, maybe something really passionate that is unconventional that you are suddenly wanting to dive deeper into. I don't want to paint this retrograde in like a light of, oh, it's just, gonna be really rough and lessons and karmic. It's very much that, but it can also look like you are in this transformative fire. Power dynamics around the feminine, your own feminine energy, they're going to be kicked up and examined at this time, hopefully to show you and reveal to you where your power has been given away and where your power is and how you can reclaim it. Aries doesn't give its power away. Aries very much wants all of its power. And so with Venus here, we can ask ourselves, in what ways have I been giving my power away? And what is that dynamic? Again, Pluto. With that, we have our final transit of the week, which is going to be the Sun conjoining Venus. Further illumination on this. The visual that I get for this transit is you've reached the bottom of the cave. You've maybe found the treasure. You're choosing which jewels you need to take back with you, the specific ones, not taking more than you need. And then you look up and a ray of sunlight just comes to reach you, and it further illuminates the path up or the path forward. It can be a moment that further ignites passions and just these Venusian themes. And I've been speaking about this a lot in regards to relationships. I want to emphasize it's not inherently romantic relationships. It can be platonic, even familial. It can also be around finances and your relationship to money. Venus Sun conjunctions are usually really lovely. They're usually amazing kind of moments where Venus can shine in a really strong way. But this clarity that comes through is going to likely highlight what is it that needs to be reevaluated. What is it that needs to be reconsidered even? Whether that's an action on your part, an action that someone else has taken, whatever the flavor might be, there is clarity in something here that is getting a redo. If past people resurface as well, or past like financial themes, and it's a situation where it's usually taken your power away from you, I would advise take a second to take a breath and say, what part of this situation hooks into my power source? What percentage of my power have I allowed it to take from me in the past? And how much permission can I give myself in this moment to access all of my power and reclaim all of my power now? Hopefully that made sense. And that's the week. Again, within the context of all of this happening within this eclipse window. So be really gentle and have a lot of grace for yourself if this feels extra charged or extra potent. May I even say, try to have as much compassion and grace for the other person or the other group of people at this time. We are all navigating this together. We may not be doing everything perfectly. Retrogrades call for things to be brought to the light so that they can be corrected and audited even. But I'm a firm believer that everyone is genuinely always doing their best. So I leave you with that tidbit of advice. And considering the charge of energy that we are navigating at this time, I am going to pull a card just to further assist us and support us in this time. So we're going to draw a card for the week of March the 16th through to the 22nd. What is it that we most need to know for this moment in time, as the dogs are barking, as life is happening all around us? We cannot control the external world. We can only control how we show up in it and how we navigate it. So I invite you to take a deep breath and ground. Here we go. We have the Seven of Wands. This is very interesting because last week we had the Six of Wands. So it's literally the next consecutive card. We're going in order from something, and it ties into what I've been saying. There's an eclipse story unfolding. It's all interconnected. Life is always interconnected, by the way. In truth, in reality, everything is interwoven. And the fact that we have the Seven of Wands here after literally having pulled the Six of Wands last week shows that, okay, last week's card, I'll revisit the message that came through then, was about moving somewhere new from a place of passion, from a place of boldness and courage with our community. And perhaps the Seven of Wands is here now saying, okay, you've arrived at your destination. Unpack all of those wands that you were traveling with and set a new foundation. This is the spring equinox. We are setting very new intentions, planting new seeds. We're working hard towards what we want. And this man has a little bit of like a committed, very dedicated and focused expression on his face. He's not playing around, or they. gender neutral interpretations. And the land that they stand on is green, there's water, there's a bit of yellow. Is that gold? It's a time where if we want to lock in right now, the energies surrounding us are going to conspire to assist us in that. There's a quote that I love that I heard a while back that says, when you move with conviction, the universe will conspire to assist you. How can you move with conviction on something that you feel passionate and strongly about? How can you lock in, so to speak, and set the foundations necessary to support you on this journey? How can you also take it easy on yourself and move at a pace that is realistic and avoid burnout, but still make considerable advancements and progress on your journey and on your path? I think this is a really interesting card to pull for the week. It feels supportive. Personally, I am of the belief that the universe is always in an attempt to support us. Oh, and I flipped the cards over and it was the sun. So, okay, 2 card interpretations. So the sun, again, made quite a few movements throughout this week and inspires boldness and courageous sort of flow and energy and a brightness and a glow to our spirit and to our life. So I know that there's a lot happening right now in time, and when isn't there? Life is always going to life. But at this moment, I know that things are especially charged, and so I'm sending you so much strength and power and love, and I'm very curious to hear any eclipse stories that might be unfolding for you. If you'd like to dive in a little bit deeper to really learn how to hone all of this energy in, what it means for you specifically, I do offer consultations on my website at audisolares.net, and I will link that down below if you're curious to explore those offerings. I would love to talk stars with you. I'm listening to the birds chirping right now, an airplane flying above my head, just taking note of the fact that life is happening right now, and we have this present moment and we can do so much with it. With what we have already, we can do so much. I hope that this has been helpful. I'm really excited to talk about the next week, and as always, sending you so much love and magic. Hasta luego.